Welcome to Leadership Moments.
In every great leader's life, there are pivotal moments that shape their character, test their resilience, and awaken their vision.
Together, we'll uncover the invaluable lessons hidden within these transformative moments.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Tracy-Ann, and today I'm joined by my co-host, my fabulous co-host, Stacey Caster. And we're diving into a crucial shift in organizational thinking, moving from managing constant change to embracing an intrapreneurship mentality. So, Stacey, really excited to explore this with you. I know we've had quite a lot of conversations.
Yeah, Tracy-Ann, of course, you are the fabulous co-host as well. So thank you so much. But absolutely on this topic, this is more relevant than ever. I recently came across a McKinsey study that found that 70% of change programs fail to achieve their goals. 70% fail. That's crazy. It really highlights the problem with our current approach to change management.
Yeah, that's right. And listen, that is a staggering statistic by any stretch of the imagination. It reminds me of something that I've been pondering. Are we framing change all wrong? Do we treat it as this sort of external force that has to be managed? But when we think about it, like change has always been there and it's always been constant, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're spot on, Tracy-Ann. The difference now is the pace of where it's at. I saw a Deloitte study that really drove this home. The average lifespan of a S&P 500 company has decreased from 61 years in 1958 to only 18 years today, which really suggests that companies, they can't adapt quickly and they're left behind.
Yeah. Listen, those numbers are eye-opening. I mean, it seems clear that instead of trying to manage this change we're talking about, what we need to create is an organizational culture that really thrives in this concept of intrapreneurship.
Yeah, let's discuss intrapreneurship. It involves fostering a startup mentality within an established organization, encouraging team members to take calculated risks, innovate, and drive change from within. And so data has backed up this effectiveness. A global entrepreneurship monitor study found that organizations with strong entrepreneurship programs are 22% more likely to experience growth. That's fascinating in itself.
That is fascinating, really fascinating. But it aligns with what I've seen about the upcoming workforce too. So there was a Deloitte study that revealed that 70% of millennials, who will make up 75% of the global workforce in 2025, want to work in more creative, innovation-focused environments.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So that's 3/4 of the workplace people, right? Next year, because 2025 is next year, right? Are going to be millennials, and they're saying, this is what I want, right? So those numbers really drive home the importance of this shift. So Tracy-Ann, I'm curious, how do you think leaders can start moving their organizations toward entrepreneurship mentality?
Look, it starts with the fundamental mind shift, right? It's the mindset shift is what I'm calling it, right? Instead of preparing employees for specific changes, where it's like, oh, we got another new initiative or another new project, or oh, we're pivoting. No, we should focus on, we've got to build the adaptability and the innovation into the company culture. Because let me tell you, with AI hitting, this is going to get even more drastic really fast. And from my experience, there's just a few key strategies. Why don't we explore those together, Stacey? Why don't you start?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's break them down one by one. So the first strategy that I often recommend is encouraging calculated risk taking and treating failures as learning opportunities. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I really believe in creating a psychologically safe environment where employees feel comfortable taking risks. I've seen companies hold failure parties to celebrate and learn from unsuccessful projects. It really shifts the narratives around failure, right? But again, I feel like this is all about getting people to think more innovatively, being open to new ideas, and not being afraid to bring those ideas up.
I want to be invited to a failure party. That is
Me
so cool.
too.
I love that example. Another example is with Google. They have a famous policy of allowing their team members to spend 20% of their time on side projects. And this not only encourages the risk taking, but it's also led to successful projects such as Gmail, which many of us have, and Google News.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. And I know just from Google's world, they want to hire people who can live in ambiguity, meaning intrapreneurship. Okay. Now, let's move on to the second strategy, providing resources and time for employees to work on innovative projects. This is where companies really need to put their money where their mouth is. Give them time to work. When I was at AWS, we had a day on a Friday, no calls. That day was all about research, futuristic, focusing on all that stuff on the business, not in the business. Let me tell you something, your wildest, craziest creative ideas come.
I love it. And 3M is another great example here. They allow their technical employees to spend 15% of their time on projects of their own choosing. And then this policy actually led to the invention of the Post-it notes, which I'm sure many people have probably heard that story before, but among other successful products within that corporation.
Wow. That's really impressive, actually. I didn't actually know that. The third strategy that we should discuss is how do we recognize and reward intrapreneurial efforts, not just the outcomes? Why do you think there's a distinction, Stacey, and why is that important?
That's a great question. I believe it's crucial because innovation is inherently uncertain. And we
Yeah,
don't like uncertainty as our nature.
that's
If
right.
we reward successful outcomes and that's all we do, we discourage the risk taking. Instead, companies should recognize the effort involved, the creativity that came to it, and learning that goes into every entrepreneurial project.
Yeah, I totally agree. Intuit had an interesting approach to this with their Innovation Catalyst program, where they recognize employees who consistently contribute to innovation efforts, regardless of immediate commercial success.
Yeah, that's a great approach, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, let's discuss the fourth strategy, which is fostering cross-functional collaboration to break down silos. Why do you think this is so important for entrepreneurship, Tracy-Ann?
Oh my gosh, I've seen so much success around this actually, and lack of. But cross-functional collaboration is really vital because innovation often happens at the intersection of the different disciplines. Because when you bring together people with diverse skills and perspectives, you're actually creating an environment ripe for new ideas because they're problem solving, they're solution fixing, they're really getting in there. And Pixar, in fact, is famous for designing their office space to really maximize chance encounters between employees from different departments, which is
That
really
is,
interesting.
yeah, that is fascinating. I love their movies, but I would love to see their office space then. That makes it so
Yeah,
interesting.
totally.
And it leads us nicely to our final strategy, which is continuously investing in team member skill development. Now, this is about empowering team members with the tools they need to innovate. What do you think, Tracy-Ann?
You're spot on. Look, it's not just about the technical skills, but it's also about how do you foster creativity? How do you foster this critical thinking? How do you foster adaptability? AT&T's Future Ready program is a great example. They invested $1 billion to help employees develop new skills to keep pace with the company's shift from telecom to tech. Think about that.
Yeah, these are excellent strategies, but implementing them isn't always easy, as we know. So,
No.
what challenges do you think companies might face when they're trying to do this?
Well, I think one major challenge is just resistance to change, ironically enough. I mean, many employees and even managers might be comfortable with the status quo. You and I've seen a lot of that in our coaching and our speaking, right? People are resistant. They want to keep doing the job. They don't want to change. And they're resistant to the uncertainty that comes with more of an entrepreneurial approach. They may be more sort of black and white or less structured or don't like ambiguity.
Yeah, that's a great point. Change is hard. And that's why we talk about it all the time.
Ah, that's right.
Another challenge I've observed is balancing entrepreneurial activities with day-to-day operations, because these are established companies that you're trying to bring this in to the environment. So companies need to find a way to foster innovation without neglecting their core business.
Totally agree. How do you think companies can overcome that challenge, Stacey?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it comes down to two of our favorite topics, leadership and culture. Leaders really need to consistently model and reinforce the behaviors they want to see. They need to communicate the vision clearly and often and demonstrate their commitment through their actions and their decisions.
Yeah, great insights. Now, I'll add that I think it's also important to start small and build momentum. If companies can begin with pilot programs or in a specific department before rolling out a company-wide initiative. And when I say pilot programs, I think there's also a little bit of stigma on that too. Roll them out small enough where it's confined until it actually reaches a success factor.
Yeah, those are some excellent points. And to our listeners, remember that shifting to an entrepreneurial mindset is a journey, not a destination. It requires consistent effort and commitment, but the rewards in terms of adaptability, innovation, and growth are so well worth it.
Happier people. I couldn't agree more, Stacey. There was a PwC study that found innovation leaders grow at a rate of 16% higher than the least innovative. So by fostering this entrepreneurial mindset, you're actually turning constant change from a challenge into your competitive advantage. How powerful.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a powerful note to end on. But before we wrap up, let's tackle a few questions that we receive from our clients. So I'm thinking one, which is what are some first steps in small business that can take to foster an entrepreneurial culture? What do you think?
I love that question. For small businesses, starting small is key. Begin by identifying a few employees who show potential for innovative thinking. They can live in that ambiguous place and provide them with the time, the resources to work on a side project. Give them a challenge, give them a problem you're working on, right? Also, encourage open communication, encourage idea sharing within your teams. Regularly having brainstorming sessions can be a great way to start to kick off that process. In fact, even having blank canvas lunch hour sessions. Hey, just come with your ideas. Another question that we received, though, Stacey, I think you might recall seeing this, was how can companies measure the success of their entrepreneurship initiatives? And what would you like to tackle? Can you handle that for our listeners today?
Yeah, measuring success can be challenging, but it's not impossible. You need to look at both qualitative and quantitative metrics. So, for example, you want to track the number of new ideas generated, the implementation rate of these ideas, and the impact on business outcomes like revenue growth or customer satisfaction. And then also gather feedback from your team members to understand how these initiatives are influencing their engagement and job satisfaction.
Excellent insights. And to all of our listeners, if you have any more questions or if you want to share any of your own experiences with entrepreneurship, please reach out to us on our social media channels. We love hearing from you. We want to make sure that all the information that we're giving you is valuable, but certainly it's a two-way street. So we want to hear from you on what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are maybe some of those opportunities that we can really collaborate? So until next time, together we can make a difference.
And that concludes another episode of Leadership Moments. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights in what we shared today. Remember, leadership is not defined solely by titles or positions, but by the choices we make and the moments that shape us.
Embrace the challenges that come your way. They may be the very moments that propel you toward greatness. We'd love to hear your thoughts and stories as well. Connect with us on our website at leadershipmomentspodcast.com or through social media on Instagram at Tracy_Ann Palmer.
And Stacey Caster _. Remember, your leadership moment could be just around the corner, waiting for you to seize it. This is Stacey Caster, and what doesn't challenge you won't change you.
This is Tracy-Ann Palmer, and be the change you wish to see in the world.